Good Wednesday morning, day before Thanksgiving, November 23rd, 2022. Ken Arzone here, Vista, California. This is a different video. I've been doing a lot of analysis on baseball players, Hall of Famers, pitchers. This video, I want to tell you what I've been up to the last 18 years. Since 2004, what have I been doing? It's 2022, right? 2004 to 2022 is 18 years. You know what I've been doing? Been trying to teach myself how to write a book. I want to thank Wasteland Press, a self-publishing corporation, for helping me self-publish books. And I've written 18 of them. So this video, I want to show you all 18 books that I've written through Wasteland Press help. And they're available on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. And I've sold a lot of books. Over 100 books, I think I've sold out of all the 18 books that I've self-published. What was the first one I did? Here it is right here. Life Gardening, my business. I was a self-employed landscape gardener for 43 years. So in 2004, I wrote a book on my gardening business. It's about 99 pages. It was very general, but I talked about my first year in gardening, working in cities, equipment maintenance, and stories I had in the gardening business. That was my first book. Second book, I decided to write a fiction, which is very hard to write fiction. So I've only written one fiction book. This is it. Mysterious Encounter. 2005, I wrote a story about the incredible adventure of a man who discovers he has a duplicate image of himself living in the world. I've always wondered, have you wondered, is there another person who looks exactly like you in this world? It's called a double. So I wrote a fiction on it. The man realizes he has one, he seeks him out, and it's an encounter because one man's rich and the other one's poor. The poor one tries to become the rich one, and the rich one, after discovering that he's been robbed, seeks out his double. They have an encounter. That was my second book. But after that, I said, fiction, much too hard. So then I got into one of my favorite TV programs called The Fugitive. Ran from 63 to 67. You've heard of it, Dr. Richard Kimball, where I wrote a book called The Fugitive Encyclopedia. That's me on the cover. I'm on the railroad track. I'm a fugitive. But this basically is an analysis of the TV series. I get into the episodes, the fugitive's aliases, his characters, his trials, his benefits, his romance, and all the episodes, how the series started, and had a very good conclusion. If you're interested in a really quality TV show from the 1960s, The Fugitive. That was my third one. So then I decided to critique all 4 seasons. So The Fugitive Views and Reviews. The critique season 1. All the episodes, all the characters, the best and the worst. I joined a Yahoo group It was called the Fugitive Views and Reviews Yahoo group. We had a discussion. We had over 1,000 posts on there. It was fun. It's no longer available. But during the 90s, we got into analyzing all the episodes. There were two people that helped me out, Bob Nierenberg and Kelly Batten. They helped me review it. So we wrote 4 volumes. This is volume 1, volume 2, Fugitive Views and Reviews, volume 3, the 3rd season, volume 2, the 2nd season, volume 3, the 3rd season. And then we finished it off, volume 4, The Fugitive. So that's 4 books. So how many books is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7 books I've written so far that I've covered. Then I got into another TV series that I really enjoyed, The Twilight Zone. So we joined another Yahoo group and we discussed all the episodes and we critiqued all the seasons. So we wrote the first volume of The Twilight Zone. That episode, Time Enough at Last, is on the cover. Volume 1. And we were going to do 5 volumes of this. But for some reason, our Yahoo group dissolved. It was very strange. We were critiquing all the episodes, but then a lot of the members started backbiting each other or critiquing each other. And we were supposed to critique the episodes. So that Yahoo group dissolved. Yet we had all the episodes reviewed. So you know what we did? Again, this volume 1, Bob Nierenberg, Kelly Batten, Lynn Carpenter, and Ken Artizone, me. We discussed volume 1 all the first season. And we were going to do the next seasons, but it didn't work out. So I decided, hey, we got to do all the seasons. So I got 1 book covering all 5 seasons, Memo to the Twilight Zone. And this was reviewed by me and Kelly Batten. And we did all 5 seasons. Who's that on the cover? That's the episode Mirror Image. That's Vera Miles. She sees a double of herself. That's where I got my inspiration to write my book on Mysterious Encounter about the double. I got that from the Mirror Image episode of The Twilight Zone. This is quite a book, and this sold some copies. This is 360 pages, but we do all 5 seasons reviewed. Okay. Next, I wrote my 2nd edition of my gardening business, Life Gardening 43, and this one culminates with my retirement. So I worked 43 years in the landscape business. I got Life Gardening 43. This gets into more detail about my gardening business. And remember, the first book I wrote was general. This one is more detailed. I examine all my 43 years in this book, Life Gardening 43. Then I said, hey, since I'm retired, now I have more time. Let's write a book and do an autobiography of me. Why not? I'm 68 years old right now. Why not tell my life story? So this one, here's the title, Thanks, Lord, for the Day. What do I mean by that? I'm a Christian. I thank the Lord every day for giving me life and breath. And so I examine my 68 years on this earth. Actually, this was written 2018. So I would have been 64. Right now it's 2022. So I'm 68 now, but 4 years ago I wrote this one, my autobiography. And this gets into growing up in the 60s, my years in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, and then my retirement. My autobiography of my life. You know, I recommend everyone should write an autobiography. Why not? You all have experiences. Tell us about your childhood. Tell us about your job. Tell us about if you got married, had kids. I talk all about that. So I wrote that. Here's an interesting book I wrote. Reunion Memories. This is a book about family reunion. My father had 10 of them in Oxnard, California. This is the Embassy Suites in Oxnard, right on the beach. And this is where we stayed and had our reunions. So this book is just basically talks about all our reunions and our memories. My sister, Rosie Rundle, she helped me write this one, put this one together. Okay. Then in retirement, I got into some of my interest. I wrote a book on basketball. Basketball is a skills game. Who are the greatest skilled Hall of Fame players of all time? So I got about 127 pages on this one. I examine all the Hall of Famers and who's number one and rank them. Basketball is a skills game. Then I said, what else is my interest? I like movies and television, don't you? So I wrote a book, The Vast Field of Movies and Television, listing my top favorites from 1931 to 2022. This was an interesting book because about 163 pages. But what I do in this one, I analyze all my favorites. Top drama movies, action, western, comedy, horror, adventure, sports, mystery, romance, fantasy, science fiction, historical movies. Then I get into television, the drama, the western, comedy, science fiction shows that I've liked. I analyze them all. I say, what are my top favorites? And then I do my top male movie stars, top female movie stars, and then same with television stars, my favorites. This is an interesting book. The Vast Field of Movies and Television. I analyze it. That was a lot of fun doing that one. But my passion, this is interesting. Right now, I've written 4 books on baseball, and right now I'm doing my 5th. What was the first one I did? Here it is right here. Baseball is a numbers game. Examining the achievements and stats of Baseball Hall of Fame players. This one, I do a what if. I rank all the Baseball Hall of Famers, over 260 of them presently. And I rank them. And I look at their stats, and I look at the achievements, and I examine. And I do a what if, indicating what if they all play the same number of games? Who'd come out on top? This book right here. And this one, this was a lot of work. 493 pages. Baseball is a numbers game. I like that. But then what did I do after that? I said, let's match them up. So I wrote another book called Baseball, All-Time Player Matchups. What do I mean? Who's greater? Babe Ruth or Lou Gehrig? Match them up with their stats and achievements. Who comes out on top? So I do all the Hall of Famers. I match them up. By the way, if you want to know, Babe Ruth beat Lou Gehrig in matchups. And I matched them up in their averages, runs batted in, home runs, triples, doubles, singles, slugging on base, base on ball, stolen bases. 100 RBI season, 100 runs scored seasons, most runs in a season, most RBI in a season, highest average in a season, most hits in a season, career hits, 200 hit seasons. See what you match them up. What did they accomplish in their career? What did Babe Ruth accomplish in all his categories? Lou Gehrig, what did he accomplish? Take them both, look at both stats, and who wins the matchup. Baseball all-time player matchup. This was a labor of love. This one, you want to hear something? Listen to this. This book is 801 pages. This was a lot of fun. Baseball matchups. So I've been doing in retirement. That was the second baseball book. Here's my third baseball book. I said, what about defense? Baseball all-time defensive player matchups. Who has the best gloves on the baseball field? This one here, 234 pages. I just focus strictly on defense. Who are the best defensive players at each position, right? Pitcher, catcher, first base, second base, shortstop, third base, left field, center field, right field. Who are the best at their positions? And I look at games played, fielding percentage, most chances, most putouts, most assists. Let's see, assist. I get into double plays and fewest errors and most innings played. This was interesting. After I analyzed it all, you know who the greatest defensive player in baseball history? Who is it? Who do you think? Who is the best defensive player in the history of baseball? After analyzing it, I found out it was Tris Speaker, who played in the early 1900s. He played center field. He had the most chances, putouts, recorded. He was the best defensive player of all time. What do you think of that one? That was my third baseball book. Then I said, hey, this was the last one I just recently published, and this is my 18th book and fourth baseball book. Old school versus new school baseball. Which players had better stats and achievements? Well, my first baseball book was a general overview of all the stats and achievements of baseball players. And the second one was the baseball matchups. You see who's the greatest. Third one focused on defense, but this one focuses on comparing baseball eras. The old school era versus the new school era. Old school would have been from 1872 to about 1949, 1950, right in there. That's old school. And then after 1950 through the present day 2022 would be new school. And interesting, you can divide 150 years into 75-year periods. So I examine it. Who's better, old school players or new school? This one has about 250 pages. Who do you think was better? I analyzed it. Old school. They dominated. They outperformed in batting average, RBIs, runs scored, home runs, triples, doubles, singles, all the categories, slugging, on base, base on balls. Old school dominated. They were better. So I examine it. So that's 18 books. And right now I'm working on my 19th. What's the title of that one? So it would be my 5th baseball book. The title, The Greatest Offensive Seasons of All Time of position players and pitchers. Who had the best seasons and how do you rank them? I'm working on that one. That'll be about 300 pages. And that'll be my 19th book. What will be my 20th book? I think I'll be done with baseball. I've done movies and television. I've done television shows. I've done my autobiography. I wrote one fiction. Fiction's too hard. So I'm going to stick with nonfiction. I don't know. I'm going to have to really delve in to see what will be my 20th book of writing. But in retirement, it's a good hobby to have. Keeps me busy. I've got a computer. I've got a Microsoft Word program. Helps me do the research and format my books, put them together, the chapters and the paragraphs and spelling and grammar. A lot of fun. So this video, I wanted to highlight my 18 books. Why not? I wrote it and wanted to have this as part of my YouTube channel collection of videos. Thanks for watching. I'm out.